Howdy folks, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at Halo Reach for MCC on Xbox One X. And we'll be taking a look at all the features that comes with the first public flight for the Xbox One. So, recently, Halo Reach has had a few public flights on the PC version, which included game modes like Firefight. But now, we can finally see what it's like on the Xbox One. And a lot more people seems to be in this flight this time, because I've been playing matchmaking for the past couple of days now, and it's been quite a lot of people, and it's pretty great actually, and it's a lot more refined, I guess you could say. It's a lot more well polished compared to the previous flights. Now this is the first time we've seen it on Xbox, as far as I remember, but it's for the most part it's pretty similar to the PC version. It's just they should both be pretty similar now to each other. But anyways, let's take a look at this flight and pretty much everything that's in it. So, as you know, MCC's UI is changing. They announced that they're using Unreal Engine for the main menu for the UI, whereas the previous UI was quite different. And apparently, with Unreal Engine, it'll be a lot more efficient, I guess, or easier to manage all the games. So I'm pretty sure that's already been implemented in this, and for the most part, everything, the layout and everything is mostly the same when you get to certain menus. The main menu, of course, is a little bit different now, but aside from that, it's on my Xbox One X, it still works pretty smoothly. I haven't had many issues with it. But anyways, this flight comes with quite a lot. It's not just the PvP flight; it also comes with Forge and Theater mode. So before I show you some matchmaking gameplay, I'm just going to show you guys the Forge mode a little bit and all the maps that are available in this flight. You could, forge your own maps already, but there's no custom games yet to actually play the maps you make. So it's not really any point yet, but you could still make maps if you want, and maybe in a future flight they might add custom games, in which case you could play it. But this won't carry over to the final game, as far as I know. They usually don't. So, I wouldn't dedicate a huge amount of time to making some crazy map on the Insider flight, only for it to not be available anymore when the full game comes out. But anyways, the first map that we can access is the map Countdown, and I mean, you may not be able to tell in this video, but everything looks really nice now on the Xbox One X, because I'm running it at 4K, and it's also at 60 FPS, which is a huge step up from 30 FPS. I remember in my video of a graphics comparison in Campaign with a tip of the spear, showing the Halo Reach on Xbox 360 versus on PC in 4K 60 FPS. It was a huge difference, and I remember there was one or two people that were freaking out and accusing me of my Xbox being broken or something, because they don't remember Halo Reach running so slowly or looking so not sharp compared to the PC version. And I found that to be kind of funny, because basically a lot of people do remember Halo Reach with rose tinted glasses. It's a lot nicer than you remember, but when you actually compare it side by side with the PC version running at 4K 60 FPS with high graphics settings, it is a huge difference. And you never actually realize that there'll be such a huge difference, and unless it's side by side, you may not even realize the difference either. But it's definitely a big difference. So anyways, we've gone through a couple maps already. There was Countdown, then Powerhouse, and then Zealot. Now we are on Breakpoint, which is a pretty big map, and probably going to be used for Invasion later this flight, which by the time you watch this video is probably the case. But anyways, after that, we've got the map Tempest, which once again looks very beautiful. Halo Reach actually, overall, even on the 360, had a lot of beautiful maps. I personally like maps with a lot of foliage on it. I don't know, for some reason it just looks really nice to me. Which brings us to the last map available, Ridgeline, the remake of Timberland on CE. This map I've always found to be one of the most beautiful maps on Halo Reach. It's it's just all the trees and all the grass and everything, and the water running. It's such a peaceful map, but also really beautiful. And now in 4K 60 FPS and HDR, actually, it just looks really, I don't know, it just looks like a whole new map, essentially, like a next gen or current gen game. Like Halo Reach upgraded to 4K 60 FPS with high graphics settings. It holds up pretty well against modern games, I have to say. But if you were wondering, if you try to run a map that isn't on this build, such as Forge World and all the other maps I haven't shown, then once it starts up, well, because the map doesn't exist, it won't actually start up. It'll just try to load it, and then it'll kick you back to the main menu because the map doesn't exist. So that's what happens if you try to run a map that isn't in this current flight or the build of Halo Reach. So that's basically Forge. Before we get into PvP, let's take a look at Theater now. Theater mode is finally available, and Halo Reach is fully supported by Theater mode. There's of course no co-op available for Theater mode anymore. It used to be available with a bug for Halo 3 and ODST, but you know, they fixed that. So now Theater mode for all games is just single player only. But anyways, at least Theater does work, and I've always been a huge advocate for Theater modes in games, and with all the features and everything. Because, you know, I know like there's game DVR now on the Xbox One and even PC, but really game DVR is not a replacement for the Theater mode. There's just so much more you could do in Theater mode that you can't do with game DVR. You know, if you want to like go back and watch in like a different angle or in third person and stuff like that, you can't do that with Theater mode. I mean, you can't do that with game DVR. It has to be a Theater mode. Now, as you saw there, Theater mode is still kind of buggy with the UI. Obviously, this is a work in progress, and it's still a pretty early flight. So, you know, the final game, no doubt they'll fix that. But anyways, when I first recorded this video on the first day of the flight, it was for 4v4 social, and competitive games was locked out, and you could only do 4v4 social matches. Of course, today when I'm editing this, it was with the hardcore. And by the time you're watching this, I think that's when Invasion is going to be going on. So, you know, obviously all these game modes and maps available in the hoppers are going to change a little bit depending on which day of the week you're watching this video, or if you're watching this after the flight is over. But anyways, it's, you know, the gameplay is obviously going to be the same. I won't be able to show you some of the other game modes that are available, like Invasion. But, you know, maybe I'll do a separate video of that later this week when it's available. But for now, I'll show you guys what 4v4 looks like, which did come with several game types itself, like Slayer. It came with some objective game modes. Had a really fun game mode like Dino Blaster that I really enjoyed, but I don't have any footage of it in this particular video, unfortunately. But anyways, if you've been watching other videos on my channel so far, then you've probably seen some earlier footage from earlier Halo Reach flights, like in Campaign and Firefight, and you've already seen solid gameplay for Campaign and Reach. But now we can see what multiplayer finally looks like, and I must say, multiplayer is, you know, just as fun as I remember Halo Reach. Now, admittedly, when Halo Reach first came out, I wasn't too thrilled about it, but I did enjoy some of the really fun game types it had, specifically the objective game types, and, you know, it is just as fun as I remember. But it's also just as infuriating as I remember. With all the people spamming armor lock and jetpacks, ugh, you know, it's just annoying. I was not a fan of that back in the day, and still am not today. And now I can experience that frustration again in 4K 60 FPS. Hooray! But, you know, other than that, the game is very fun, and, you know, the 60 FPS is like a must-have. Once you do 60 FPS, you really can't go back to 30 FPS anymore. On a 360 version of Halo Reach is, you know, a drastic improvement. And with the 4K as well, you know, I can't stress enough the higher resolutions. It just makes the game look so much, you know, clearer and more crisp and sharper. Like I said, it feels like a modern game now. But one of the big features that people have been asking for a while with Halo Reach, and actually MCC in general now, is a progression system. Like an actual like ranking system and everything, so you can earn XP to, you know, possibly unlock stuff or unlock new ranks. Well, this flight actually includes that progression system now, or at least a early version of it. It's kind of basic at the moment, but you could see what it's basically going for. You know, the medals you earned, you know, your performance and everything gets you points, and it adds to your rank. And then your rank is displayed to the left of your player card on the roster. And you know, there's there's already a lot of ranks available in flight. I am not that high of a rank already. I'm kind of like low middle-ish maybe, but I've already seen some people with pretty high ranks. Now, the last thing we're gonna do is, you know, exploring the rest of the build a little bit. If you go to the game custom installation screen, you notice you do have the option to install Halo Reach campaign, as well as all the other Halo games. So this is a PvP flight, but what if we tried to install the campaign? Well, if I select it, as you can see, I do get a very small update. It is a very tiny size download, and if I let it actually install, after a little bit, you know, it said like starting the download, and then if we wait, well, first of all, they changed the download sign. It's actually pretty cool now, but after a little bit, it will actually, you know, finish the download, and you know, after that, it'll say campaign finished, but it's, you know, nothing happens. The campaign menu is obviously locked out and can't be accessed on this flight. But even if it could be accessed, you know, that download was in the megabytes. There's not gonna be anything available. It's probably just like a small placeholder for the campaign, and it's not actually playable or anything. So if you download the campaign, you're pretty much wasting your time and, you know, wasting like a few megabytes of hard drive space. As for the other games on the flight, like Halo 3 or Halo 2, selecting those, it doesn't add any space to the download and doesn't actually start download or anything, so that won't do anything. But yeah, so that's basically all the ins and outs of this flight. It's pretty fully featured actually. It even has like Forge, even though it's a PvP flight. But yeah, so hopefully you guys did enjoy this, and for those of you who are actually in the flight this time around, and I'll be playing it all week, so I hope to run into some of you. But if you're not playing it, then, you know, hopefully you do think it's gonna be pretty cool, and when it comes out, you know, hope you guys will get it and enjoy it. But other than that, make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Anything else you want to check out or look into, as always, just let me know. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.